Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Bay City Players as we present another original work. My name is Mike Wisniewski, and I'm glad you have joined us for our 6th online performance. Last week, we brought you an original play by Michigan playwright J.R. Spalding Jr. Tonight, we are thrilled to present an original comedy, The Announcement, by Paul Lewis from Seattle, Washington. Bay City Players is excited to participate in the Make Art virtual campaign started by our friends at Midland Center for the Arts. We would like to also thank our season sponsors, Chemical Bank, Independent Bank, Landau Packaging Systems, Skorupski Family Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Wildfire Credit Union, and Michigan Sugar. Our doors may be closed right now, but we are dedicated to our mission of providing high-quality theatrical performances for the entertainment, education, and enrichment of the community. The show must go on, but virtually. So as you all will know, these are difficult times for everyone, people, organizations, and businesses, but it does look like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're enjoying these online events and would like to support our efforts, please consider making a donation to Bay City Players. You may donate by visiting www.baycityplayers.org and click the donate button. Any amount you give is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for your continued support during this difficult time. Now, just a little bit about the play, and it's kind of interesting that we do these because these are all original works that are not necessarily picked up by licensing houses, but there's really good works out there that people have been sending us. So a little bit about The Announcement. At 5 p.m. on August 26th, 1965, as the war in Vietnam was escalating, President Lyndon Johnson made an announcement. As of midnight that night, the marriage deferment to the draft would be eliminated. Anyone who got married before midnight would still be exempt from the draft. Now, thousands of couples across the country dropped whatever they were doing and ran out to get married. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, Ohio, awkward but enduring Toby has received his final draft notice. As he is trying to figure out how to escape enlistment, the announcement is made, and it seems like the answer he's been looking for, with just one hitch. He doesn't even have a girlfriend. So while he tries to enlist the help of a mysterious relative, he meets two beautiful strangers, explores the legacy of a notorious burlesque house, and encounters a small-scale twister in this heartfelt, nostalgic comedy about true love and changing your destiny. That was a little clip from our playwright. Now, during these unprecedented times, we are grateful to use this platform to connect with each other. So feel free to comment as the show goes on and let us know what you think. Our cast comes to you with little rehearsal time and without access to our theater has found props and costumes to use from their own home. Now, if you are interested in participating in future programs such as this, please send us a message on our Facebook page or message myself, MJ Wisniewski, on Facebook personally, and we will add you to the list. Also, stay tuned for our next performance. More about that at the end of the show. Now, I'd like to introduce the cast to you. So when I call your name, cast, just give a wave to the audience and let them know your character and where you are from. Nick Pellegrino.
Hello, everybody out there. I'm Nick Pellegrino playing Toby, and I'm from Midland, Michigan.
Nick Scabara.
You mean Zach?
Zach, well, I'm sorry. I was saying Zach Scabara. Sorry about that.
You're okay. I was just like, that's a weird last name. Hello, I'm Zach. I'm from Friendswood, Texas.
Elizabeth Dewey.
Hi, I'm playing Betty, and I am in Bay City.
Todd Little.
Hello, I'm playing Jack, and I hail from Bay City, Michigan.
Andy Harrington.
I'm Andy Harrington, playing Leonard, coming at you from Midland.
Gina Kearley.
I'm also from Midland, and I'll be Lucia tonight.
Kiera Dixon.
I'll be playing Candy, and I am from Standish, Michigan.
Nate Colger.
Hey, Nate Colger from Bay City, Michigan, and I am playing Officer Baxter.
Gene Champy. You have to unmute yourself.
There, now am I
There you
unmute?
go.
I am in Midland. I am unmuted in Midland, and I am playing Brenda Worthington.
Kyle Sanborn.
Hello, my name is Kyle. I'm in Midland, Michigan, and I'll be playing the TV anchor.
Okay, and tonight our swings are Gene Champy and Kyle Sanborn. In the event that one of our actors experiences technical difficulty, they will step in to keep the performance seamless. And speaking of tech, we have Tyler Leonard behind the scenes making sure that everything is running smoothly. Last but not least, our narrator tonight is Judy Harper.
Hello, I'll be narrating from Flushing today.
Good. Thank you all for joining us. Now sit back and hopefully you have a drink in hand and enjoy the announcement.
Act 1, Scene 1. The Lerner home in Cleveland, Ohio. A sweltering summer evening, August 26, 1965. Lights up on Toby, standing outside his modest Cleveland home, clumsily practicing a card trick.
There are many tricks in the annals of magic that are legendary for their difficulty. The Aquarian illusion, for example, Radium Girl, and nearly anything which involves impalement or dismemberment.
Lights up on the interior of the home. Betty fretfully dries a couple of dishes while gazing out the window. Jack is on the phone.
Christ, I finished half the crossword puzzle waiting for these people to answer the damn phone. Move the fan so it's pointing this way, will you, Betty?
How's that? Better?
The war over in Vietnam is starting to heat up. So I guess the letter from the draft board shouldn't have come as a big surprise, just graduating from college and all. But I didn't know anyone who'd been drafted, and I figured the odds were good that I'd beat the rap as well. And if my luck ran out, well, my luck just ran out. and it would take something more than a modified cabinet escape to keep me out of Vietnam.
Oh, hello. Can you tell me if the flight from Miami to Cleveland got in yet? It's Braniff Flight 72. It was supposed to get in at 6:30. My son's on that plane, by the way, and he works for your outfit. Yeah, he's chaperoning a very famous South American beauty queen on a world tour. Would I pull your leg, sweetheart? 40 minutes ago. Oh, thanks, darling. I appreciate it.
He'll be here any minute then. Go, check the towels in the powder room, Jack.
I just checked them 15 minutes ago, Betty. Name one person who's been in the powder room in the last 15 minutes.
I just want everything to be perfect, Jack.
Come here, sweetheart.
It's not every day that Miss South America 1965 comes to our house.
What are you so nervous about? She's just a person like everyone else. Look at me. Do I look nervous?
And then there's Toby's letter from the draft board, of course.
Yeah, well, I don't know how fretting about it's going to make that any better.
Maybe he's got fallen arches like you, Jack. Remember when we got him that first magic set for Hanukkah? What was he? 7, 8? He put on a show for us that very night.
He robbed us blind is what he did. Charged us $1 a piece and never even opened the damn booklet that came with it. Just started making things up, like he's doing now.
I don't think I could stand it if they sent him to Vietnam, Jack.
In the annals of magic, there are tricks which are best left to the professionals, and others which should be attempted only by the virtuosos. But there is one trick which exceeds the reach of all but the rarest and most refined of magicians. This feat involves no shark tanks, sleight of hand, or vanishing rabbits. Pick a woman, any woman. Look into her eyes, take her in with one glance, and then mysteriously, infallibly produce the key which unlocks the door to her heart.
The sound of a taxi pulling up off stage. Toby stops his magic trick in mid-motion, a fan of cards suspended in his outstretched hand as he looks off stage.
Thank you very much. Come along, darling.
Car door closes and taxi drives off. The cards in Toby's hand leap embarrassingly into the air and fall over the ground as Bruce and Lucia enter.
Spectacular trick, Toby.
I'm just getting started. For my next number, I'm going to need a sharp saw and an intrepid volunteer. Are either of you two interested?
Maybe later. How are you?
I'm all right, I guess.
Lucia, meet my brother, Toby.
Toby, encantada. Mwah, mwah.
You can say that again.
Pardon me?
There he is, the prodigal son.
Mr. King of the Sky.
Hello, mother, father. Hug, hug.
Oh, Bruce, it's so good to see you.
And this must be the famous Senorita.
Cecilia Montes Bravo, meet my family.
Call me Lucia. Much easier, don't you think?
Okay, Lucy, we're Jack and Betty, all the way from Argentina, huh?
I live in Chile, Viña del Mar, Chile.
Get a load of that. I've never met anybody from Chile before.
It's that long, skinny country down there, Jack, on the left side of South America.
I know where it is, Betty. What do you think I am, stupid?
My parents were the real-life inspirations for the Brickersons.
All except Toby make their way into the house. Toby picks up the cards.
So come on in. You see, Betty, she's just a nice, normal person, just like I told you. Betty was all worried that we had to go out of our way to impress you. But you know what? We're just going to be ourselves, a normal American family. Is that okay with you, Lucy? A nice, normal American family?
Yes, of course it is.
Wow. Nobody's ever kissed me like that before. Just 2 minutes ago, my life was drab and miserable, and now, actually, it's even more drab and miserable. Not to mention that I've broken out in a severe case of prickly heat. That wouldn't be falling in love, would it?
Toby enters the living room, lights up on the others engaged in conversation. Bruce and Lucia are enjoying a cocktail. Toby pours himself a glass of milk.
Oh, yes. It is very hot here in Cleveland, no?
Not hot, humid. Humid.
Lucia does not have a hearing impairment, Mother, and it's well over 90 degrees. Most people would call that hot.
Just humid. You get used to it.
I wonder if she kisses all the guys like that. If I had my stopwatch and a slide rule on me, I could probably calculate the exact number of milliseconds that her lips made contact with my cheek.
I don't actually fly the plane, Father. Are you still drinking that vile liquid, Tobias?
What's wrong with milk?
So, you are a magician?
I actually have a major show coming up this weekend that I was out there practicing for.
Oh, this is in a theater.
Well, it's more like a living room. Herbert Singer's 9th birthday party, but it prays pretty well. By the way, the kids go crazy when I fling the cards in the air like I did outdoors. Peals of laughter, like you wouldn't believe. Usually one of them will end up with such a severe hiccups from laughing so hard that they'll have to be taken to the emergency room.
Oh, yes, it was very amusing.
Thank you. I guess you can say I've been involved in the entertainment industry my entire life.
Toby works in the hi-fi department at Levine Furniture, downtown.
Until I get my my MBA. Then I'll be moving to Hollywood or more likely Paris, France. I'm planning to getting an accounting job with one of the big movie studios or maybe the Paris Opera.
Toby has always been one to dream big. As his grandma Harriet used to say, dream big or dream not at all.
Grandma Harriet never said anything of the kind, Mother. You must have read that on a Hallmark greeting card.
Well, somebody said it, I think.
We're proud of you, son. So, we've got dinner reservations tonight at the finest restaurant in town, the Virginian out on Van Aken. The toughest table in the city, I might add. I hope you kids are hungry.
Oh, yes.
As Bruce has probably told you, you really need more than one night to get to know Cleveland.
You'll have to come back.
A week is more like it. I mean, you've got your Museum of Art, your Cleveland Orchestra, your Indians, your Browns, if you're a sports fan, that is. No bullfights, though. Toreadors, no puingo esto possibly.
Are you having a stroke, Father? Or have you suddenly decided to speak in tongues?
And Cleveland's in a very central location, close to Toledo, Ashtabula, Akron.
Which is the rubber capital of the world, just in case you want to pick up some tractor tires while you're there.
Hold the travel log. What, pray tell, is this?
What does it look like?
Well, this is going to put a dent in your grad school plans. Wipe off your milk mustache, by the way.
Toby just got that letter the day before yesterday. We've all been worried sick, if you want to know the truth.
Well, what is Toby going to do about this?
What are Toby's options? I mean, once we all stop talking about him in the third person.
Move to Canada? That's one option.
I considered that, but I never much cared for poutine. Besides, which I just can't see myself living in exile for the rest of my life, wearing a beret and writing bad poetry.
Okay. There's always conscientious objector.
The last time our local draft board granted anyone CO status was during the War of 1812.
I don't understand. What is the problem?
Well, take a look. Toby's been called to serve up in the armed forces.
Oh, the army, Vietnam? This is not good.
No, it's not good at all.
I was thinking that if he just brought along his accordion and played a couple of tunes for the draft board, they'd put him in the Army polka band.
Mother, please, that is the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard.
I don't think it's that ridiculous. Do you, Lucy? You should hear him on the accordion.
Toby took lessons from Frankie the Yank Yankovic for a while. Best polka musician on the west side of Cleveland.
Bring it down from your room, Toby.
I'm actually a bit rusty on the accordion, and the accordion might be a bit rusty as well. The last time I played it was at Morty Weinberg's bar mitzvah party, remember? Until all the kids ganged up and threw me and the accordion into the pool.
To this day, I can't believe Morty's mother didn't put a stop to that.
I think it was her idea to begin with. And since I never could swim while wearing a wool suit and dress shoes, it was a good thing I was hanging onto the accordion because it kept me afloat. That might come in handy in case you find yourself playing in a polka band on a sinking ocean liner someday.
That Vietnam is a stupid war. There is no reason for it. Don't you agree?
I don't know, doll. If we don't stop the commies over there in Asia, the next thing you know, they'll be in North Dakota. It's just like dominoes, you see.
I've been to North Dakota, Father. If the communists take over North Dakota and turn the entire state into a Soviet collective, I can assure you it will be a vast improvement. We can't let Toby go to Vietnam. That's all there is to it.
Kids, you see what we parents have to put up with. They think they know everything. Are kids like that in Argentina too? Toby's been called up for his physical, and all we can do now is leave it in God's hands.
Just for the sake of argument, why don't we assume that God is not going to take a position for this issue? Then perhaps we can think of something that might actually bear fruit.
You shouldn't say things like that, Bruce. What if he hears you?
Hold on. I'm trying to picture God standing in a basement in Cleveland, Ohio, listening in on this conversation through the heating ducts.
I'll get it.
That's probably him now.
If so, let's hope he's tanned, rested, and has a self-deprecating sense of humor.
Yeah, hello. Oh, hello, Elaine. Yeah, they're here. You want to talk to Betty? It's your sister. What's that? What channel? Oh, okay. Bye. Turn on the TV, channel 5. Elaine says there's something we've got to hear.
Betty turns on the TV. A moment passes while it warms up, and a blue glow illuminates all of their faces.
Probably some kind of sale at Higbee's. 20% off ladies' shoes or some damn thing. Are women just as shoe crazy down there in Argentina, Lucy?
Shoe crazy?
Lucia lives in Chile, Father.
Another indication of the escalating situation in Vietnam. Just moments ago, President Lyndon Johnson, citing the need for an expanded United States presence there, signed an executive order which eliminates the selective service marriage deferment. This goes into effect at midnight tonight.
To recap, Brenda, this means that anyone who is legally married as of midnight tonight, August 26, 1965, still qualifies for deferment from the draft?
That's correct, John. But if you're thinking of getting married and you tie the knot after midnight Eastern Standard Time, you'll be out of luck.
Thanks, Brenda. That's Brenda Worthington reporting from the White House. This has been a special announcement of the NBC News.
Betty turns off the TV.
The marriage deferment. How come you never thought of the marriage deferment, Toby?
Well, first of all, I didn't figure on getting called up. Besides which, let's just say I haven't met the right girl. Let's just say I haven't met a girl.
What time is it now? Eastern Standard Time? Just wondering.
It's 7:30. Cleveland's on Eastern Standard Time, isn't it, Jack?
That's right. And we've got an 8 o'clock dinner reservation, kids, so we ought to be heading out the next few minutes. This is the most gourmet restaurant in Cleveland, for crying out loud. We can't just cancel at the last minute like this.
It's like a message from the Almighty, Jack. I mean, the timing of it.
Well, if the Almighty was listening through the heating ducts, let's hope he was considerate enough to clean the furnace filter while he was at it.
Look, nothing's really changed from 5 minutes ago. How come we weren't talking about marrying Toby off then?
There's nothing like a rapidly approaching deadline to focus the mind, Father.
What do you think about this, Lucy?
Me? I think that things happen for a reason. There is a reason that President Johnson and Brenda Worthington tonight made this special announcement. But what I think is not important. We need to ask Toby what he thinks.
What do you think, Tobias?
Me? Well, first of all, I was rather looking forward to a succulent dinner at the Virginia. I've heard that the frog legs and Ren wine sauce are to die for, and that their baked Alaska is second to none. Secondly, if God has selected Brad Worthington to be his mouthpiece, I think it would represent the network's news first and also call for significant revisions to the Holy Scriptures. Thirdly, as far as I know, we haven't even hired a caterer.
I believe the caterer is optional in situations like this, Toby.
Then there's the marriage license, the rabbi, the photographer, the rings, the gift registry, the chuppah.
Chapa?
It's a special canopy that the bride and groom stand under, like a sari with the fringe on top.
References to musical theater aside, a groom also needs a tuxedo and a cummerbund, which can be spelled with either 1 or 2 M's, by the way.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 M's.
Why don't we sort that one out later?
Having said all that, and assuming that these challenges can't be met, I would have to conclude that eating wedding cake sounds infinitely better than going off to fight in a meaningless war. Although, that still leaves a question of finding a suitable bride.
So I take it you're not going out with anybody.
Surely you're aware that there's no one worth dating in this town.
What about that nice girl who was in your Hebrew class at Fairmount Temple? Rachel something. She played Queen Elizabeth in the 4th grade Passover parade, remember?
That would be Queen Esther in the 2nd grade Purim parade. Rebecca Rosen was her name. I can never eat a pruna home in Tashin without thinking of her.
I remember that she liked you, Toby.
No, I liked her, actually. But her heart belonged to Norman Fisher, on account of the phlegm-colored shirt he used to wear with the mother of pearl buttons. If you had bought me one of those shirts in 2nd grade, you might have had grandchildren by now, and we wouldn't be having this discussion.
So you don't know any girls at all?
Well, there is Lorna Lee in Mattress and Box Springs. I don't know her all that well.
A shiksa?
Shiksa?
Gustentite.
You know what? Let's not set the bar too high, Mother. We might be heading over to the Amish country before this night is over. Go on, Toby, Lorna Lee.
Well, she's actually going out with Rick Ruggles, the assistant sales manager in dishwashers and appliances. And she mostly seems to go out of her way to ignore me, but she did wink at me once.
That's interesting. What do you think as a girl?
This can be a very good sign, no doubt.
Of course, it might have had something to do with the severe pink eye pandemic that was ravaging Levine furniture at the time.
And the Amish country, this is...
They're kind of like a sect, the Amish. They live out in the Amish country, not far from here.
The Amish live out in the Amish country.
Tautology.
Maybe you should give Lorna Lee a call, Tobias.
The Amish, they ride on horse-drawn buggies because they don't believe in internal combustion or something. Uh-oh.
Well, what's the matter, Batty? Are you all right?
Starting to get one of my little seasick spells, I'm afraid. It's just everything's happening so fast. President Johnson's special announcement, the Vietnam War, our baby getting married.
Let's not start breaking out the Uncle Ben's rice quite yet.
Maybe I'd better lie down on the sofa, Jack.
Good idea, doll. Don't anyone panic. Betty's just having one of her dizzy spells. It's all very normal.
I am sorry you are not feeling well, Mrs. Lerner.
Oh, don't you kids worry about me. The next time you come to Cleveland, we'll have to go out and see the Amish people. They're very quaint.
Never mind about the Amish. Do you want me to send for Dr. Abrams, honey?
No, let's wait a few minutes and see if it passes.
How about I get one of your tranquilizers?
Sure, honey.
Everyone stay calm.
Excellent idea, Father.
I'm going to get Betty a Milltown.
Mother, remember to breathe nice and slow and it will be over in a few minutes. Now, where were we, Tobias?
We were at Lorna Lee in Mattress and Box Springs, I believe.
Do you have the lovely Miss Lee's number?
She lives with her folks in Shaker Heights. From what I understand, I suppose they're in the phone book.
There's the phone and there's the phone book. Why aren't you calling her?
Well, for one thing, because I haven't the faintest idea of what I am supposed to say.
Just look up the number, Toby. We'll help you. Won't we, Lucia?
Oh, yes, we will help you.
Here's your Milltown, honey.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what else they believe in, Jack?
Who?
The Amish people. I'm sure Lucy would like to know.
What? You're still on the Amish? How the hell am I supposed to know what they believe in?
Well, they must believe in something.
Oh, for crying out loud. They believe in growing beards and being stubborn and backwards. That's what they believe in.
Just like Jews believe in arguing over nothing and drinking chocolate phosphates, which is a traditional Judeo-American beverage composed of equal parts seltzer water and Bosco sauce.
Bosco sauce. This is...
I have no idea what it is, to be honest, but it has a faint resemblance to a chocolate syrup, and it's manufactured in New Jersey, if that's any help.
Toby, you're stalling. Dial the goddamn phone.
Here you go, honey. Now, one pillow over each ear, just like Dr. Abrams said. And just rest.
I was waiting for a rare moment of tranquility. After all, I may be dialing the home of our future in-laws. Oh, hello. Mrs. Lee? This is Toby Lerner. Toby Lerner. I don't suppose Lorna's mentioned me. That's what I thought. Well, is she out to the movies? Huh. With Richard, I see. A fine young man. I was just remarking on what a bright future he has in dishwashers and appliances. Well, it was nice to talk to you, Mrs.
Ask her what movie they went to, Tobias.
Hold on, Mrs. Lee. What the hell? What for?
The Viet Cong, that's what for.
Mrs. Lee, do you happen to know what movie they went to? I thought maybe I'd catch them after the show. We're having minor problems with the spin cycle on our washing machine. She's finding out. She must be checking with Mr. Lee. By the way, while I'm on hold, you're not interested, Lucia, by any chance?
Interested in what?
In getting married tonight. I see. Well, let me know if you change your mind.
Yes, I will let you know.
Don't be rude to company, Toby.
I was just joking, of course. I mean, you're all right, but I hardly know you, and I've always been a believer in long courtships. Guess you can say I'm traditional in that way.
You are a very comical boy.
I'll take that as a compliment.
But my novio, he will not find you so comical.
Novio, huh? Does that mean what I think it does?
You would like to see his photograph?
No, not especially. I wonder where Mr. Lee went. Maybe he slipped up to the movies as well.
How are you doing, Betty?
A little better.
Good. Just keep those pillows over your ears.
With amor from Eduardo, huh? Well, he's handsome enough, I guess. But if you ask me, his smile looks insincere. I think you could do better.
I did not ask you.
Yes, I guess you're right.
Don't be rude to company, Toby.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Lee. The Eleanor Roosevelt story.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
That's a good one, Mrs. Lee. No, it's just that it doesn't exactly sound like the kind of movie that Richard and Lorna...
The Eleanor Roosevelt story. Now that is a tall tale. 10-1, they're steaming up a parked car over at Horseshoe Lake.
No, not yet, but now that you've spoken so highly of it, I'll make a point of seeing it at my earliest opportunity. Well, actually there is. I wonder if you could ask her to call me. It's kind of an emergency. Wait, no, don't. You want to take my number down? Just in case she doesn't. Hello? Maybe I'll take along some bongos to my army physical in case they've got an opening at the beatnik corps. Feeling better, Mom?
I'm fine, honey. Don't you kids worry about me. Yes, I think I'm all better now. Oh, there goes the room again.
Lay down, Betty.
I'm getting all tingly around the mouth, Jack.
Tingly around the mouth? That's exactly what happened to Cousin Lester just before his fatal coronary. Nobody panic. Hot water. Somebody get some hot water.
Geez, I didn't realize we were in a Western.
Calm down, Father. Mother, take some slow, deep breaths. It will be all right.
I will get the hot water.
No, you stay here and keep an eye on Betty. I'll get it. Somebody call an ambulance.
You know what? I'm going to cancel our dinner reservations first.
The number's on the counter. Tell him we're very sorry. Oh, there goes the room again. Hold on, everyone.
Slow, deep breaths, Mother.
Here's the hot water.
Lucia, that should come in handy in case Mother unexpectedly goes into labor.
Oh, hello.
Give me the phone, Bruce. Hello? We need an ambulance at 1305 Buckeye Road on the double. My wife's having a massive coronary. What are you, some kind of wise guy? What do you mean you don't offer ambulance service? What? I pay my property taxes like everyone else. What's that you say? The Virginian? Sorry. Why didn't you tell me you were calling the damn restaurant? I thought you were calling for an ambulance.
You better call him back, Jack, and cancel that reservation. Tell him we're very sorry to cancel on a Saturday night like this.
It's all under control.
I'm a little better, I think. I can feel the Milltown beginning to work.
That a girl.
The room's not spinning so fast. More like a 33 than a 78.
There you go. You got him on the line?
Yes.
Give me the phone. If I don't make up some lie, I'll never get a dinner reservation in this town again. I'm sure you people do the same thing in Buenos Aires. Hello? This is the Learners. Party of 5. There's been an unexpected death in the family, so we're... What do you mean, what kind of a death? Heat stroke, okay? Heat stroke with a side of arsenic poisoning. Are you happy now? Or do you need to see the death certificate? My address? That's none of your goddamn business. My address? Have I checked for a pulse? What is this, the Inquisition? Quit asking so many questions and just cancel our damn dinner reservation. I swear to God, that was like the police interrogation.
Maybe that's because you were just on the line with the Cleveland police, Father.
Like talking to the Gestapo, for Christ's sake.
May I say something, please?
Hello? Hello? Lucilia Cecilia Montes Bravo would like to say something.
Sure, doll, go ahead.
I believe that everyone is getting too agitated, too excited. This is not going to help the situation. It is better to stay tranquilo.
Calm and collected, you mean?
Yes, as we say in Chile, con calma y buena letra. With calm and good handwriting. And this way, perhaps, we will find a better solution.
That's good advice. How long did you say you've been dating this girl, Bruce?
I'm a homosexual, Father. How many times do I have to tell you?
Tranquilo, tranquilo. This family makes as much noise as a small locomotive.
Believe it or not, this is about as calm as it ever gets around here. But what do you suggest?
Well, first of all, if Toby is to marry tonight, he needs a girl.
Go on.
I am sure that somewhere in the city of What is it? 1 million people? There is a girl who is equally desperate to be married as well.
Ignoring for a moment the insult implied by that remark, how, pray tell, does one go about finding such a girl?
Yes. How does one find such a girl, Lucy?
Well, maybe you talk to your priest or your rabbi
I don't think the priest option is going to fly.
or your doctor or people who know many other people. People who make arrangements, who fix things.
People who fix things. Back in the old days, this would have been one for Leonard.
Yes, it would, Jack.
And who's Leonard?
Don't, Betty.
Just
don't.
You're the one who brought him up. He's your father's estranged older brother.
Estranged older brother?
Are you saying that we have an uncle?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. An uncle is someone who'll always be there for you when you're growing up. Take you to the circus, buy you a bag of peanuts and one of those giant souvenir pencils.
You mean like one that Lawrence Permulator poked his eye out with?
Jack and Leonard had a falling out many years ago over Grandma Harriet's inheritance.
But you always used to tell us that Grandma Harriet left you nothing but a $25 savings bond and a recipe for beet borscht.
That's because Leonard cheated me out of everything else.
He came to your bris, honey. You probably don't remember.
I was 8 days old, Mother.
Don't ask.
Officer Baxter enters, tiptoeing toward the house.
Anyway, this is nobody you have to be concerned with.
So that's why all your old family photographs have holes in them. It wasn't the moths in the attic after all.
Forget we even mentioned him.
He was the fixer in the family. Whenever you had something that needed fixing, a parking ticket, speeding ticket, or worse.
Oh, much worse.
You talked to Leonard.
A real character. He called in favors and made arrangements. He knew the inside dirt on everybody in town. The lawyers, the bookies, the crooks, the cops, the hookers. If you got a judge to pay off, go see Leonard, is what everybody used to say.
Officer Baxter puts his ear against the door.
If you got a body to bury, that's the guy you go see.
Officer Baxter reacts and gets ready to spring into action.
He probably arranges marriages as well.
Maybe. How the hell do I know? Occasionally we hear stories about him. Apparently he's still down there doing his thing on Short Vincent.
What is this Short Vincent?
It's a tiny little street downtown that runs between East 9th and East 7th. It has a lot of, what would you call it? Local color.
That's where the Roxy Burlesque Theater is, isn't it?
That's the one. Lenny owns it.
Our uncle owns the Roxy Theater?
Well, I think we must go to this little Vincent and find this great person.
I'm not going. No way. I've washed my hands of that so-called brother of mine.
Jack, maybe he can help Toby stay out of the army.
I seriously doubt it. Besides, I wouldn't go running to him if he was the last fixer on earth.
Well, I will, if there's even half a chance that it will keep Toby out of harm's way. Let's hurry, kids. We don't have a moment to lose.
Officer Baxter barges in, gun drawn. The women scream.
What's going on?
Not so fast. A body to bury, huh?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, this puts a damper on the evening.
We got a suspicious call from this residence. Yeah, some guy who sounded like he was high on drugs, ranting about an unexpected death.
That was my husband. He can get very excitable sometimes.
We thought we were on the line with the Virginian, you see. Christ, they had us over a barrel and we had to say something.
Ah, the Virginian, huh? That's a mob handle if you ask me. Okay, who else is gonna sing?
Actually, my brother can do a very respectable version of Climb Every Mountain. If you close your eyes, you'd swear it was the Mother Superior herself.
That's not what I mean. Where's the body? Don't touch that phone. Start talking. Who is this? The Virginian, you say? Well, this is Joey the Weasel. You heard me, pal. You want to know if the party's on its way? Yeah, the party's on its way, all right. You stay right there. You don't try to pull any monkey business or else... Hello? Hello?
By the way, if we ever decide to book a future dinner reservation at the Virginian, I suggest we do so under a different name.
Ooh, where'd you go, you lousy punk? Hello? Hello? Will somebody tell me what the hell's going on here before I run the whole lot of you to jail?
Well,
Well, you see, there was a plane and
We were talking to the
a
It's all because
There's nothing.
it's
Hold on! Hold on!
Analytics.
Hold on! One at a time.
I think I can explain, Senor Baxter.
And who are you?
I am Lucia Cecilia Montes Bravo from Chile.
Chile? Where's that? In Mexico?
This lovely senorita happens to be Miss South America 1965, in case you'd like to have her autograph.
If I may explain, this family, they say they are a normal American family. But as you can see, they are a little crazy, but still, they have done no crime. They are very agitated because if this young man, Toby, does not get married before midnight, he will be sent to Vietnam and they may never see him again. That is why they call the Virginian restaurant and tell terrible, terrible lies about a dead person so they can cancel their dinner and instead go to find Uncle Leonard and little Vincent.
That would be a short Vincent, officer.
Because this Tio Leonard is the only one in Cleveland who can fix this horrible problem.
Finally, someone's making sense around here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're not talking about Lenny Lerner, are you?
Yes, the same.
Ah! Well, why didn't you say so in the first place?
So you know Leonard, officer?
Ah, everybody downtown knows Lenny. Yeah, he's the fixer. Or at least he used to be. He's been kind of keeping a low profile these days.
Can you help us find him?
Nah, he ain't that hard to find. Lives in a little dump of an apartment above the Roxy Theater. Yeah, I'll run you down there in my squad car, but I could only take 2 of yous.
Well, I'm not going anyway.
Bruce, you and Toby go on ahead in the Pontiac. Lucy and I will drive down with Officer Baxter.
I've had it up to here with that so-called brother of mine.
Oh, Jack, why can't you let bygones be bygones? Come on, Lucy, let's go freshen up a bit.
Lady, I gotta go to work.
There are some donuts in the pantry, Officer Baxter. Help yourself.
Oh, sure. Take your time.
Come along, Tobias. Will you drive?
That seems prudent.
Toby, good luck, son.
Scene 2, Leonard's apartment, above the Roxy Burlesque Theater. Lights up on a dimly lit, sparsely furnished apartment. Leonard is at the window.
Lenny!
I'm here, Candy.
Jeez, so damn dark in here. How come you got the lights turned off?
I don't know, so I can take in the view. Look at those purple clouds over the lake. I think we're in for a storm.
Breathtaking view, ain't it? Cleveland's very own Champs-Élysées. Though, as far as I know, Paris doesn't have the Jean's Funny House, an Egg Palace restaurant, and half a dozen assorted strip joints. Not that I've been there, of course.
And 15, 20 years ago, the street glimmered like a string of diamonds. Yeah, you're too young to remember it. Cars pulling up to the curb all hours of the night. Fancy cars, too. Lincolns, Cadillacs, men in silk scarves, women in their minks. Jazz music spilling out into the street. This was the place to be. The place to be seen. Entertained.
And you were the emperor of it all, weren't you, Lenny?
Yeah, I couldn't walk 10 feet down this street before someone would stop me and shake my hand and introduce me to their wives or girlfriends. This guy here, they'd say, this is Lenny Lerner. They call him the Fixer. But he's actually the Emperor of Short Vincent. And I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it started when the Meyer brothers left for Vegas. It's like somebody pulled the plug. All the life went out of these streets. Everything was faded and diminished. One day, I look in the mirror and all I see is an aging Jew living on top of a second-rate burlesque house. This is how it ends, isn't it, Candy?
Quit feeling sorry for yourself, Lenny.
I got a few weeks to live, and you tell me to stop feeling sorry for myself. But I tell you what I'm feeling sorry for. It was all smoke and mirrors. And in the end, I got nothing to show for this life of mine. I threw it all away. Not a single good deed.
You looked after me after my mother died. That was a good deed. And now you got a friend, don't you? Not everybody has a friend, you know. You know, I'm getting really tired of people looking at that pile of rubbish on top of the marquee. Hamburger wrappers, broken liquor bottles. Tomorrow I'm going to climb up there and give it a good cleaning. Well, get a load of these two characters on the sidewalk, staring up at the girly posters like a couple of hayseeds who just got off the bus at Times Square.
Yeah, they've been standing out there for a while.
Can I get you anything, Lenny, after the show?
You know what? After your show, run over to Corman's and pick me up a couple of cheese blintzes.
You got your appetite back. Sure, I'll pick up a couple of blintzes for you. Can I tell you something, Lenny?
Anything.
I feel like I've hit a dead in my life. Just like that moth beating its wings against the street lamp. I mean, how can that be at the age of 24?
Get out of this place, Candy. Go on, leave. That's my advice. It's exactly what I told your mother. What was it, 30 years ago? Well, she never listened to me.
I can just picture you and my mother leaning out of this same window, having the same conversation.
And she was no ordinary streetlight moth, your mother. A Luna, maybe, like you.
I found a Luna once when I was about 15.
No kidding.
It was just resting underneath the porch steps. I'm running after a softball and I look up so I don't hit my head. And there it is, a big green Luna. It was like out of a picture book, like some kind of celebrity. It was my lucky day, I guess. Those guys out there should be picked up for loitering. Hey, you! You're disturbing the peace. Move on or I'm going to call the cops.
Scene cuts to the sidewalk. Toby and Bruce are talking, looking up toward the girly posters arrayed over the theater marquee.
Was some woman just yelling at us?
Yes, I believe some drunken floozy was just bellowing at us. Ignore her and hopefully she'll pass out or something.
Just look at him, Brucey. Tempest storm, Georgette Lafitte, modesty blaze, the silent sirens of Short Vincent, beckoning generations upon generations of Cleveland's huddle masses.
Need I mention that they don't do a thing for me?
Remember the Viewmaster I used to have? My disc collection was the envy of Rutherford B. Hayes Elementary. It started with the 7 Wonders of the World, and just about every month Viewmaster came out with another 7 so they could sell more discs.
Didn't you have some ridiculous insect collection too?
That happened to be one of the finest privately owned moth and cocoon collections in the greater Cleveland area.
It was utterly disgusting. And then there was the Columbia Record Club.
You'd obviously rather discuss my collecting neurosis than hear my Viewmaster anecdote.
No, please, go on. I'm dying to hear your Viewmaster anecdote.
Anyway, In about the 6th grade, on my way home from school, I see this Viewmaster disc lying on the ground, and I take it home. It turned out to be the girls from the Roxy Theater in 3D. Most of the snapshots were smudgy and out of focus, but if you squinted your eyes, just so your imagination could fill all of the details.
It's a good thing Mother never found that.
Oh, I kept it in a very safe place, and I remained a loyal viewer well into junior high school. Until my lever wore out on the Viewmaster, that is. Why is the heart always want what it can't have?
Because what it wants is always what it can't have. Is that a tautology?
I believe that is a tautology. She's in a different language altogether, isn't she, Bruce?
Tempest Storm? She must be 60 years old by now.
No, I mean Lucia. I think I'm falling in love with her. In fact, I am falling in love with her. Is that possible?
Oh my. She's out of your reach, Tobias. Beyond impossible. Pull her out of your mind.
You think?
Are you kidding? First of all, she can't possibly get married until her reign as Miss South America ends, or she forfeits everything. Money, fame, reputation.
Of course. I never thought of that.
Secondly, she's already engaged to a fetchingly handsome and aristocratic tennis star whom she will marry the minute her contractual obligation expires. Thirdly, well, the whole thing is inconceivable. You're rattling the cage, Toby. The cage of impossible desire, but it won't do you a bit of good. She's not going to let you in, so you have to move on.
I guess you're right.
Stay focused. Remember what we're here for.
Remember what we're here for.
You don't want to go to Vietnam, Toby. Everything else tonight is a potentially fatal distraction. Now, let's go. It's time to consult with Uncle Leonard.
They exit. Scene cuts back to Leonard's apartment. The sound of footsteps on stairs.
Those characters that were outside, I think they're climbing the damn stairs to the apartment.
They're probably selling magazines. I actually wouldn't mind getting Sports Illustrated. Let's see if they got any special deals on 2-week subscriptions.
What do you need to get involved with strangers for at this point in your life?
A knock on the door as Toby and Bruce stand at the threshold.
Yes, can I help you?
We're looking for Mr. Lerner. Leonard Lerner.
The fixer.
The fixer. Lenny, there are a couple of clowns here looking for the fixer.
And tell them to get lost. Tell them the fixer doesn't live here anymore.
You heard what he said. The fixer no longer lives here. Now get lost.
But it's really very important. If we could just have 5 minutes of Mr. Lerner's time.
What are you, deaf? He said.
But we've traveled a very long distance and spared no expense in hopes of seeing you, Mr. Lerner.
What do you think this is, the freaking Wizard of Oz? Go back to Kansas or wherever the heck you came from.
That would actually be Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, well, wherever it is and whatever your problem is, we don't want any part of it. Now get out of here before I slam the door in your face.
Let's go, Bruce. Dad was right. There's no reason to think that Uncle Leonard would want to have anything to do with us.
What the?
Well, thank you for your trouble, miss. Kindly tell Mr. Lerner that we won't be troubling him any longer.
Come back here, you two. Close the door. Sit down. Candy, get the vodka out of the freezer. A little schnapps.
That sounds fabulous.
You don't have any milk, do you?
Right. You crack me up.
I've been hearing that a lot tonight. But seriously, I'd prefer milk if you'd have it.
Sorry, Junior. It was the milkman's day off.
So, start talking. What's up? Are your mom and dad okay?
They're fine, Uncle Leonard.
What's with this Uncle Leonard business?
These are apparently my nephews. Jack's boys.
You mean the brother that hates you?
Yeah, Bruce and,
Toby.
Bruce and Toby. You've already met Candy Cane, one of our headliners.
Charmed.
Likewise, I'm sure.
So, what's with the pastel suit? Halloween's a ways off.
I work for Braniff as a lead cabin attendant.
You mean like a stewardess?
Well, actually, they've got me flying around the world now as official chaperone to Miss South America 1965.
I'll be damned.
Dad calls him Mr. King of the Sky.
I keep trying to explain to Father that I don't actually fly the plane.
And what's your story? You a stewardess too?
Me? No, I hate to fly. I break into hives at the mere mention of turbulence.
Listen, Uncle Leonard, Toby's got a problem that we're hoping you can help us with.
I figured as much.
And the thing is, we don't have very much time to solve it.
I see. Well, that suits me fine, actually. So let me guess. You're not in trouble with the law. I can tell that by looking at you. So what is it? No, don't tell me. How old are you?
22.
22. You just got called up. You got no student deferment. Am I right?
I graduate in the spring, and I've been accepted to the MBA program at Columbia.
Which is not going to keep you out of Vietnam.
That's correct, Uncle Leonard.
So you want me to fix that for you? Well, I hate to break the news to you fellas, but I don't know any of the players on the draft board anymore. They got a whole new deck of cards over there. Go-getters, from what I hear.
I see.
It ain't like the old days. You just make some calls, knock a few heads, twist some arms.
It's not?
It's a whole different world now. And my influence, well, frankly, it's not what it used to be.
But actually, if we act fast, there may be a way to keep Toby out of the Army, which doesn't involve bribery, extortion, or blackmail. The president made an announcement tonight. Did you hear about it?
The marriage deferment, which expires at midnight. You've turned pensive. It's not a good sign, is it?
It's a lot that has to happen for a wedding to take place. We're talking blood tests, paperwork, finding someone to officiate. I don't know. That's a really tough nut to crack at this hour of the evening. I mean, it's 9:15 already. Nearly impossible, I'd have to say. I'd hate to blow my last case.
Oh, but we've been told that if anybody in the city of Cleveland could...
Hold on, Bruce. Do you mean your last case?
They're telling me I got maybe 2-3 weeks to live. What was your name again?
Toby.
You're joking, right?
Some joke.
Oh, God, that's awful.
For goodness sake, Uncle Leonard. You know what? We'll just leave you two.
Hush. Sit down. Not a word to your mother and father. Promise?
Sure, Uncle Leonard.
We promise.
Let's get back to business then.
Are you sure?
So, what does the girl have to say about all this?
Oh, you don't exactly have a girl in mind yet. I mean, I do, in a way, in a big way. If you want to know the truth, Miss South America, 1965. But as fortune would have it, she's engaged, entirely out of reach. And then, of course, there's Lorma Lee at Levine Furniture, who's supposedly at the movies tonight with Rick Ruggles and Dishwashers and Appliances. The Eleanor Roosevelt story, no less.
Toby, stay focused.
Frankly, I'd make a terrible soldier. I faint instantly at the sight of blood. Every time Elliot Friedman had a nosebleed in 4th grade gym class, he'd have to carry me to the nurse's office to be resuscitated.
It's too much!
So we're actually wondering, Uncle Leonard, if in addition to the forgery and body burying and string pulling for which you are so widely celebrated, if there's any way you could help me out with the girl part of the equation as well.
Girl.
I'm not a matchmaker. There's a difference between a fixer and a matchmaker, you know.
There is?
Yeah, matchmaker traffics in matters of the heart. That's not within my purview. Never was.
Oh,
I can see that I disappointed you deeply. In every possible way. I'm sorry.
no. It's just the way Mom and Dad talked about you. They made it sound like you could do anything.
I was a fixer, not a magician.
Ironically, I am a magician, an amateur one, of course.
You make yourself disappear? That would keep you out of the army.
Unfortunately, they didn't cover disappearing and vanishing in Hasbro's first big book of magic.
What about the second book?
There is no second book.
You know what? Maybe you shouldn't have left everything to the last minute. Then you wouldn't be in this pickle now, would you?
I'm sorry, kid. It sounds like you came to the wrong place. So, hopefully you got some other options.
Geez, we've got plenty of options. And in fact, we were just talking about heading out to the Amish country next. You never know who might meet a barn raising. Besides which, the Northeastern Ohio Lepidopterist Society is holding their annual dinner dance tonight in Akron. So, like I said, we've got a lot of options.
What the hell is that? Like a leper colony?
It's someone with an appreciation for butterflies and moths, Lenny, like me.
I'm very impressed.
What, that I understand words with more than one syllable?
No, it's just not every day I run into a fellow lepidopterist.
Well, this ain't just any day now, is it?
Sometime, if you're interested, I can show you my definite collection of Northeastern Ohio moths and cocoons. Took best show of the 1956 countywide science fair.
Do you have a Luna in that collection?
Are you kidding? Nobody ever finds a Luna. They're impossible to find.
Impossible, huh? Interesting. Well, good luck. Maybe I'll see you around.
Charming individual. Reminds me of, what's her name? The saloon keeper in Gunsmoke?
Miss Kitty.
The one with the large mole on her cheek.
Which is either a beauty mark or melanoma. Keep hoping Doc Adams will have a look at it someday. Will you excuse me, Uncle Leonard?
Where on earth are you going, Tobias? You don't think...
Oh, what the hell do I know? She's a good kid, Candy. Like a daughter to me.
She takes off her clothes for a living, Uncle Leonard. Toby's never been on a date. His idea of living on the wild side is sitting down with a glass of chocolate milk to watch reruns of the Lawrence Welk show. Besides which, Mother would have a stroke. She would drop dead on the spot.
Well, she'd rather see her son get shipped off to Vietnam.
Probably not, come to think of it. Speaking of which, there's Mother now, with Lucia.
Well, Betty's here. Not with Jack, I hope.
No, he stayed home.
Well, send her up here. I'd like to say hello. Bruce, whatever happens, happens. I was a fixer once. I made arrangements, but matters of the heart, I never once claimed that I could move heaven and earth.
Blackout. Scene 3. In the corridor outside Candy's dressing room. Toby catches up with Candy just as she's about to enter the dressing room.
Excuse me.
She turns back.
Can I talk with you for a second?
If you make it snappy, I got a show in 5 minutes.
You've actually spotted a Luna.
Who told you that?
Nobody. I could just tell by the offhanded way you dismissed my similarly offhanded remark. So how did you find it?
Well, I was running after a softball, if you want to know the truth. I found it when I was looking for something else. Lime green wings with white spots, just like in the books.
Those are called eye spots. They confuse predators.
Duh.
How big was it?
Like that, maybe.
Amazing. The aristocrats of the Saturn and I family.
Maybe you'll spot one someday, if you just keep your eyes open. You realize what you're trying to do tonight is truly impossible, don't you? when you haven't even found a girl?
Stranger things have happened, don't you think? I mean, all it would take is one girl who is looking for the same thing I am. A new start, another chance. She must be out there somewhere, wouldn't you agree? Hiding in plain sight, like a Luna. It's just a matter of finding her before the time runs out.
Well, you better start looking, don't you think?
Couldn't agree more.
Last time I was late for a show, there was a small riot that spilled out on Short Vincent.
I read about that in the Plain Dealer. As I recall, there was some property damage, but virtually no life lost.
That's about right. Well, see you around then. Say, I can get you into the show for free if you want.
It's about the nicest invitation anyone has extended to me since the infamous fiasco at Morty Weinberg's bar mitzvah. I'm sure you read about that in the papers as well. But the fact is, I've got to wait here for my mother.
Your mother?
She should be along any minute. Her and Cecilia, the South American beauty queen.
The one you're in love with?
That's right.
You crack me up. You know that?
Yeah, you mentioned that already. By the way, you let it go, didn't you?
What?
The Luna.
Sure, I let it go. What the hell was I going to keep it for?
Blackout. Scene 4 on Short Vincent Street. Lights up on Officer Baxter engaged in an animated discussion with Lucia while Betty listens in.
You are a policeman. It is your duty to rescue that man.
No, you don't understand, lady. He ain't stuck up there. He don't want to be rescued. He actually wants to be there.
Ah, tonto estúpido.
Toby and Bruce enter.
What seems to be the problem, officer?
Just trying to explain to the lovely senorita here what that fat man's doing on top of the flagpole down the corner.
Yes, I would like to know why he is up there and why the police officer does not bring him a letter.
Maybe you can explain it to me, and then I'll translate it into English for her.
So, is Uncle Leonard going to be able to keep you out of the army, honey?
Well, we're still working on that.
In the meantime, Tobias met a very charming dancer.
Oh, you mean like a ballerina?
Something like that.
By the way, I'd like to come back and do some more window shopping later on. I sure wish they'd take the bars off the windows so I can get a better look at the merchandise.
Those are pawn shops, Mother. Now, Uncle Leonard's right up those stairs.
Oh, you, Leonard! I'm on my way.
So as I was trying to explain, that's Freddy the Tuna, the owner of the French Quarter, that strip club around the corner.
Freddy the Tuna.
Yeah, they yanked his liquor license last Monday. He's been staging the stunt every night since.
How come they pulled his liquor license?
Citizen complaint.
What kind of citizen complaint?
When a fella buys a B-girl a drink at a stripping club, everybody knows it's going to be sugar water, and the house is going to charge the guy an arm and a leg for it. I don't know how they do it in Mexico, but I mean, come on. Well, it seems some guy from Columbus ran up a $2,700 bar bill one night, buying rounds of little pink cocktails for all the girls. Not to mention he's running through a bottle of bourbon for himself.
He sounds like a big sucker to me.
Not to mention an alcoholic.
It turns out he didn't have much of a sense of humor either. And to top it all off, he knew somebody real high up in the state liquor commission. They sent out an undercover dick who posed as a customer and surreptitiously collected samples of said girly beverages for analysis.
I can't wait to hear the results.
14 parts water, 2 parts strawberry fizzies, and 1 part red dye number 2.
That last ingredient must have been the clincher.
So I take it he's going to stay up there making a jackass of himself until they give him back his liquor license?
Nah, the club paid a fine. They got the license back weeks ago. Now, He's in the running for a Guinness World Record for the most consecutive nights spent by a fat man at a flagpole.
I hate to be a skeptic, but how do we know he's not cheating and coming down at 3 in the morning when nobody's walking?
They take his ladder away. Yep, they lock it up in a nearby warehouse, you see. He ain't going nowhere until 7 a.m.
Lucia, are you following this?
No, but I have heard enough. I wash my hands of this Freddy the Fish. And over there, is that Lake Erie?
Yes, that's one of our Great Lakes, all right. Although I wasn't aware that it had so many syllables. Would you like to have a closer look?
Of course. I am in Cleveland for one night only. I want to see everything while I am here.
Tobias, why don't you take Lucia out on the 9th Street Pier for a few minutes? I'll keep an eye on Mother.
Well, okay, if you don't think Eduardo would mind.
Why would he mind?
That's what I was afraid of.
What time is it now?
It's 9 o'clock.
Let's meet back here at 9:20 and plan our next moves.
I take it you'll be planning your next cocktail as well. Step right this way, Lucia, to the scenic shores of Lake Erie.
Blackout. The sound of building wind and waves. Scene 5. At the end of the East 9th Street Pier.
Well, here we are. Refreshing breeze, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I agree.
So, do you know the names of the other Great Lakes, besides for Erie?
Of course I know them. Michigan,
Michigan.
Superior,
Superior. The accent on the superior.
Oran.
That would be Huron. And then there's Lake Ontario.
My English is not perfect, as you can see.
It's infinitely better than my Spanish.
Oh, Spanish is easy. Of course, to speak Spanish, you must first learn to roll your R's.
I've never even rolled a cigarette, if you want to know the truth.
Here, I will teach you a poem. R con r, cigarro. R con r, barril. Rápido corren los carros, cargados de azúcar del cerro.
You're not going to ask me to repeat that, are you? By the way, do you have any change?
Change? Ah, coins, you mean?
Yes.
Here, some coins from Chile.
You should work all right.
What will you buy with these coins?
I'm not going to buy anything. Pardon me for a moment.
He begins tossing the coins into the lake.
What?
About how much would you say these coins are worth in US dollars? Just out of curiosity.
Excuse me? And why are you throwing this money in the lake like it is garbage?
I'm making a wish.
This is not Trevi Fountain. The coins, please, in my hand.
To make a wish, I believe any body of water qualifies.
But to make a wish come true, you must throw the coin over your shoulder, like this.
How come no one ever told me that? No wonder none of my wishes ever came true.
Here, I will give you one more and one more only.
Thank you. Like this?
Yes. Little wonder that Lake Erie is famous for being filthy like Pig House. And what was your wish? To stay out of the army, no doubt?
I can't say. If I say, then it's guaranteed to not come true.
So your Uncle Leonard, he cannot help you?
He's a fixer, is what he told me, not a magician.
But you met a dancer,
Well, more like a stripper.
and you like her,
She's nice, I guess.
and she likes you?
Does she like me? Probably not. Not enough to marry me, I'm sure of that. That's Canada out there. You know?
You've changed the subject.
Not really. Let's face it. It would take a miracle for me to get married tonight. I could tell that from the way Lorna Lee's mother answered the phone back there at the house. Even from the way that Brad Worthington was leering at me from inside the TV set. I guess that's the reason I ended up on Short Vincent tonight. And then here, at the very end of the East 9th Street Pier. Because it's the very end of the line. Where people go when they're running out of chances.
I am sad you feel you are out of chances, Tobias.
Tobias. Nobody ever calls me Tobias except for my brother.
I hope you do not go to Vietnam.
You know what? If they don't take me, it'll just be someone else. Anyways, there's the reason I'm out here. Because I'm out of luck. What do you know? What about you? What's your excuse?
I am here because your brother brings me to Cleveland, and Officer Baxter drives me to Little Vincent, and then you bring me to see this lake.
Things happen for a reason. You said so yourself earlier tonight.
I believe this is true, yes.
May I tell you something?
Yes, of course.
I watched your face as you were pulling that picture of Eduardo out of your purse, and to be honest with you, I didn't see anything that remotely resembled the face of a girl in love. You had the avid expression of someone trying to make a persuasive argument, trying to convince herself that she was in love. That's what I saw. And I have to wonder if it wasn't my brother or Officer Baxter or I that brought you here, but rather your uncertain, restless heart.
I want to go back now.
Lightning and thunder.
So do I. I draw the line at lightning. I don't particularly like the color of that sky either.
Take me back, please.
Blackout. The sound of waves recedes. Wind begins howling. Scene 6. Leonard's apartment above the Roxy Burlesque Theater. Betty is talking with Leonard while Bruce enjoys another drink.
Well, as my mother Harriet used to say, the most important trip you can make in a lifetime is to meet a person halfway. I just think if the two of you can let bygones be bygones.
I hate to interrupt this string of homilies, but why is the sky such an odd shade of chartreuse?
Oh my. It's probably just because of the air pollution and all the neon signs, isn't it, Leonard?
No, I don't think so, Betty. There's a storm coming in off the lake, a big one.
The wind is really picking up too.
Whom are you calling, Mother?
I'm calling your father. I think he might have left the top down on the Buick.
I've seen enough. Betty, get off the phone. You and Bruce head downstairs. Get into the fallout shelter.
But where's Toby and Lucy?
Lucia wanted to see Lake Erie. I believe they were headed over to the 9th Street Pier.
The 9th Street Pier? In weather like this?
Maybe I should go try to find them.
You go down to the shelter. Stay there with your mother. You could get yourself killed going out there.
Excellent point.
They're probably hunkered down somewhere. Toby's a smart kid.
Okay, everybody, head downstairs. There's a twister on the way. I repeat, a twister. Everybody to the fallout shelter. Women and children first.
If there are any children in here, they should be the first ones arrested.
That means you too, Lenny. Come on, everybody to the fallout shelter. It's a twister. It's a twister.
Go ahead. I'll be right with you.
What about Freddy the Tuna? I hope somebody brought him that ladder.
I'm afraid it's a little late for that, but don't worry. Air traffic control is keeping an eye on him.
Air traffic control.
Yeah, at last report, he was 1.5 miles above Ashtabula.
Well, perhaps we'll set a Guinness World Record for longest unaided flight seafood division.
Let's go, people. It's a twister.
Lenny, I'm scared.
All exit except Leonard.
Don't worry, Betty. Just follow Officer Baxter. Everything will be all right. Whoever heard of a burlesque house getting knocked over by a twister? Now, if we were in a trailer park out in Lorain County, then we'd have something to worry about. 9th Street Pier. God damn it. Talk about a couple of dumb kids.
Blackout. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. The interior of a police cruiser a few minutes later. Lights up on Betty and Officer Baxter in the front seat and Bruce and Candy in the rear. As the wind continues to howl, Betty leads a sing-along.
78 bottles of beer on the wall.
Beer on the wall.
78 bottles
of beer.
If one of those bottles should happen to fall. 77 bottles of
Beer on the
Candy,
wall.
why aren't you singing?
I don't feel much like it, Mrs. Lerner.
Oh, it'll pass the time till the tornado blows over. You're sure this is the safest place to be in a tornado, Officer Baxter? In a squad car, chained to a fire hydrant?
With all due respect, ma'am, this is no ordinary squad car. No, sorry, Bob. Hey, this is a Plymouth Belvedere with a powerful V8 engine. Hey, let me show you.
He starts to open the door and the door proceeds to fly off its
Maybe I'll show you later. Hey, are you kids comfortable back there?
Not really. Now, let me get this straight. That fallout shelter sign has been hanging in the alley next to the Roxy Theater since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah. As I recall, they put the project up for competitive bidding and awarded the contract to the lowest bidder, a firm out in Mayfield Heights.
And in the last 3 years, no one has bothered to confirm that there was an actual fallout shelter.
Well, it was kind of a fallout shelter, Bruce, I suppose.
It was a broom closet, Mother.
Officer Baxter, why don't you tell us about your most interesting case, just to pass the time?
My most interesting case. Let's see. Well, that would have to be the case of the exploding beer nuts. See, it all started with a call to the precinct on a Thursday night, I believe.
Just hope your son's all right out there, Mrs. Lerner.
Why, sure, he's all right. Why wouldn't he be all right?
Yeah, maybe it was a Wednesday night.
There's a lot of places around here to hunker down in a storm. Aren't there, Officer Baxter?
What? Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Bruce slaps him on the back of the head.
Why, sure there are. Say, would you look at that? A whole tuba section flying down Short Vincent.
You're not actually interested in my brother, are you, Miss Kitty? I mean, Miss Candy.
Of course not. You think I'm that hard up?
The reason I ask is that if you are, then great. Welcome to the family, and thank you for your interest in saving my brother's life. But if you're not, then please be aware that we're under fairly severe time constraints to find him a wife. Toby is easily distractible, and any unnecessary distractions could prove disastrous.
So, what do you do for a living, Miss Candy Cane?
I'm a dancer.
A dancer. Toby met a dancer tonight. Maybe you two know each other.
Maybe, yeah.
I didn't realize Cleveland had so many ballerinas. Oh, will you look at that? Someone dropped a 50-cent piece on the sidewalk.
Opening the car door.
No!
Mother, no.
Not now, Mrs. Lerner. What are you, insane?
Hold on, ma'am.
The passenger side door flies off its hinges.
Oh.
Oops.
Now, how am I going to explain that one to the lieutenant?
You know what? I think I'm going to take my chances at Cornman's before this police cruiser turns into a convertible. I've got to pick up an order of cheese blintzes for Lenny anyway.
Hey, would you mind climbing over the seat and going out the front door, or what used to be the front door?
Sure, no problem.
My, you're really not dressed for the weather, are you?
Guess not.
Well, it was nice to meet you anyways.
Be careful crossing the street now. Looks like a whole trumpet section's now flowing down the corner at East 9th Street.
Okay, see ya.
I take it the high school marching band practice in Parma ended a bit abruptly.
Does anybody know the time?
It's 10:15.
That means Toby has an hour and 45 minutes to find a bride. Once we find Toby, that is. The tornado is not helping matters any. We're completely off schedule now.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have taken the Lord's name in vain earlier tonight.
Mother, are you implying that God would send down a tornado on account of a couple innocent witticisms?
Well, you never know with God. He can be very wrathful sometimes.
Let's see. The barn raising is definitely out. We'll have to skip the Lepidopterist dinner dance and head straight to the Mahjong Woman's Open out on the Benai berth, and then from there to Lorna Lee's house on the off chance that she's back from her date. It's a complete Hail Mary, but all the same.
Oh, who's got another song request?
Blackout. Scene 2. Jean's Funny House. A down at the heels novelty store. Toby and Lucia enter, tiptoeing over broken glass. Toby has a scrape on his forehead.
Jean's Funny House. As good an establishment as any to wait out a tornado, don't you think? They even smashed the door open for us. That was considerate of them.
We should be underground, Toby.
And in a perfect world, we would. But why don't we start by moving away from the plate glass windows?
You have been in tornadoes before?
Oh, sure. Lots of them. Why, they come through here at least 3 or 4 times a week in the summer.
I am frightened, Toby. The wind is so loud.
What? That's nothing. A baby twister at best. Very, very routine.
Oh!
Lucia. Everything will be all right.
Are you certain?
I am so certain. I promise. You have nothing to fear. Say, will you look at that? A Hasbro magic set, as seen on TV. I don't think they'll mind if I open it up, do you? I'd hate for you to get bored while we're waiting out the storm.
Toby pulls a black top hat out of the box and puts it on.
Just a touch small for a fully developed skull, but it'll have to do. Oh, Gene even left a suit coat and a white tie. He thought of everything, didn't he?
Changes his necktie for a white bow tie and puts on the black suit coat.
Okay, let's see what we have here.
Slowly, Toby undergoes a metamorphosis from an ugly duckling to a beautiful swan as he performs a magic show for Lucia. He gracefully moves from cards with hearts to paper hearts to gestures straight from the heart. As the show continues, Lucia's fear transforms to enchantment.
Lucia, when we were at the lake, my wish...
Toby! Toby! Lucy!
Who is that? It sounds like your father.
It's my Uncle Leonard.
Toby! Lucy!
Uncle Leonard, we're in here.
Toby, you okay? I've been looking everywhere for you.
We're fine, Uncle Leonard.
Oh, thank God. They told me you were out on 9th Street Pier. What happened to your head?
Just a little scrape. Is everyone safe over at the Roxy?
Yeah, they went down to the shelter, so I'm sure they're all safe.
Uncle Leonard, this is Lucia.
Encantada.
that was some storm. I bet you don't have weather like this in South America, do you?
No, not very often.
Well, neither do we. Maybe once in a lifetime we see a storm like this. Well, let's head back over there. We better attend to that scrape of yours.
You don't have any more of that vodka, do you?
Excuse me, please. Bruce will be so worried about me.
Lucia.
He would not like to lose me, South America, and little Vincent.
Lucia, don't.
What happened, kid? What happened, kid?
I don't know.
You all right?
Sure. Why wouldn't I be all right?
Blackout. Scene 3. Leonard's apartment above the Roxy Theater. Lights are initially dim. Lights up on Candy, looking straight ahead.
Something clicked inside of me, Lenny, during the tornado. I realized that if a telephone pole had collapsed on top of all of us, they would have had nothing to say about my short life. Kind to small animals, a good daughter, second-rate stripper. That would have been about the sum of it. I don't want to live and then die like that, Lenny.
I keep telling you, Candy, make a clean break. Get out of Short Vincent before it gets under your skin.
It already has, Lenny, and I don't want a part of it anymore. I'm not going back on that stage. I just did my last show. Well, half a show. Dock my pay if you'd like. Oh, here are the cheese blintzes that Corman's kept their dinner service going during the tornado. Can you believe it?
Thanks, doll. Yeah, we'll leave him over there. And don't worry about your paycheck. You'll have plenty to live on once I'm gone, you know.
Don't want to hear about it. Just cut it out, Lenny.
You're like a daughter to me. The closest thing to family I ever had, up until now.
Just hush up, will you? Not tonight. So anyway, one more thing. Junior, who was just up here.
Toby?
Your nephew, Toby, yeah. The kid's in a tough spot. And he needs a break. So, besides which, he's kind of cute. And he makes me laugh. Not anything like the usual assortment of, cheaters, drunks, and heels that I usually run into around here. And I could use a new start. So I was thinking, if you could tell him if he's willing that I've made up my mind.
Why don't you tell him yourself?
Well, I would if I could find him. I figured you'd know where he was.
I'm right here. As a matter of fact, hiding in plain sight.
Jesus, this is embarrassing. What happened to you?
I got in the way of a slide trombone taking an unscheduled flight down Short Vincent.
You weren't using your noggin.
Actually, I was.
So, what do you think?
What do I think? You're taking a big chance, aren't you? You don't know the first thing about me.
Well, you've always dreamed of seeing a Luna moth. That's something.
Maybe I'm in love with someone else.
I don't see her around, do you?
No? Suppose I don't.
Do you like kids?
Not especially. Why? How many do you have?
None so far. And you? No, forget I asked.
What about an arrest record?
Extensive. Yourself?
Not yet. But in February of 1962, I declined the Columbia Record Club selection of the month, and record club attorneys have been sending me threatening letters ever since for failing to meet the obligation of club membership.
What was the selection of the month?
The Mormon Tabernacle Choir sings Elvis.
Oh, it sounds like you need to change a scene as well. A new beginning.
I'm actually planning to go to Columbia next month to get my MBA in business
Where's that?
in New York City. And after that, Hollywood, or more likely Paris, France.
I've never been to Paris, France.
It's beautiful there, especially in the spring.
You've been there?
No, but I've seen all the major sites in my Viewmaster. Where are you going? Did I say something wrong?
I'm getting changed. You don't want to marry a girl who's dressed like a stripper, do you?
She exits.
Can I ask you something, Uncle Leonard? Why does she look so familiar?
It'll be because you've seen pictures of her mother, Sugar Cane.
Sugar Cane.
Very close friend of mine. She was on that Viewmaster disc that was going around back in the 50s. Girls of the Roxy Theater. No doubt you had a copy.
Me?
Mhm.
Why, of course not.
Oh, come on. Everybody in town had one.
Well, I mean, I might have accidentally taken a glance at someone else's.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, dear friend of mine, Sugar Cane, promised her I'd look after her daughter. Now listen to me, Toby. I've squirreled away some money over the years, not to mention the properties I own, the Theatrical Grill, the parking lot over on East 7th, and the Roxy Theater. I'm leaving my entire estate to you and Bruce and Candy, 3 equal portions, married or not. My advice to you is to sell every last piece of it and get out of this town. But I'll let you kids figure it out. I know you will. That girl from South America, what's the story with her?
She's already spoken for. Uncle Leonard, out of reach.
Blackout. Scene 4, in a bar near the Roxy Theater. Bruce and Lucia are at the bar, each with a drink in hand.
From now until the end of this tour, Lucia, I am not going to let you out of my sight for a single moment. Do you understand me? Can you imagine what Eduardo would have done to me if I'd lost you in Cleveland, Ohio? Not to mention the Chilean armed forces. What time is it now?
11:15.
11:15. You know what? It's over. The game's up. The important thing is that we tried. I imagine my grandma used to say that as well.
Where is your flask?
My flask? Oh, now that is an excellent question. These drinks have absolutely nothing in them. Here it is.
Where did your brother learn to do magic?
To do the magic? Exactly which magic are you referring to, darling? Propelling 52 cards into the air on a suburban tree lawn?
No, he did the magic show for me during the tornado at Jean's funny house.
He did a magic show for you.
Like I have only seen once before when I was younger. When I grew up in Valdivia, in the south of Chile, we had the espectáculos, traveling shows from Santiago mostly. They came to our town only 1 or 2, maybe 3 times a year, so everyone turned out to see them. At the Teatro Bulnes, the only movie theater in town, it is always raining there in Valdivia province. And one rainy night, my mama and papa take me to the espectáculo. I am young, maybe 17.
And there was a magician on the bill?
First, there was a comico. He was not so good. Perhaps I was too young to understand his jokes. And then, how do you say, ventriloquio?
Ventriloquist.
Oh, exactly. He threw his voice everywhere, to the back of the theater, up to the balconies, and gradually the theater fell silent out of respect, for we were obviously in the presence of a great artist, a maestro. All one could hear was the sound of rain on the roof of the Teatro Bulnes and his voice echoing through the theater. When he left the stage, there was a great ovation and applause.
And you remember it still.
I remember it still. More whiskey, please. But that is just the beginning. For after he takes his bows, the magician comes to stage, and with him a trio of musicians, a bandoneon player, and violin and guitar. And the magic show starts very quietly, very still. But somehow he draws us in. He weaves a spider web of enchantment and draws us in. And I am no longer aware of the rain, of my family sitting beside me, of anything but this passionate music and his magic. And all across the hall, Bruce, there are women in various stages of excitement. You hear the sighs and moans and rapid breathing.
Oh my God.
And I, maybe 17 years old, I surrendered to a pleasure like I never feel before. Ah! And it was only after they suddenly brought the curtain down on him that I became aware that many men had been, how do you say, booing. And I saw the parish priest looking around the theater with his red face about to explode.
Not your average variety show, was it?
Tonight, your brother saved me from the tornado and then did a magic show for me alone. To save me from going crazy with fear, he weaved a web of enchantment and I once more surrendered.
Oh my. How about we just keep this between the two of us? I don't think Eduardo would appreciate this story half as much as I.
Eduardo.
Your fiance, Eduardo?
Eduardo bores me.
He bores you.
Yes, he bores me with his tennis trophies and his embassy parties and his insincere smile. Don't you see that I have fallen in love with your brother?
My brother, Toby.
Do you have another brother that you do not tell me about? Somehow he knew, Bruce. Somehow he found it. The key to my heart.
But if this would be the biggest scandal in the history of the Miss South America pageant.
I know that. And I must think of Eduardo and of my family's sensibilities. There are so many currents to navigate. Unless I act with calm, with care, my family will feel that I have ruined them. I love your brother, but I cannot marry him tonight and save him from the army. So he must not know. He would hate me if he knew.
There you are. Trying to keep track of everybody in the aftermath of a tornado is not an easy task. I'm going to need a few witnesses, you know.
Witnesses?
Although, just in case we don't have a quorum, Uncle Leonard has arranged to bring a few of the girly posters aside and put them up in the dressing room. So how do I look? The top hat is the courtesy of Hasbro, by the way. And there are 2 M's in cummerbund. At least that's how they spelled it on the tuxedo rental place that I burglarized.
Tobias, would you mind telling me what's going on?
Oh, you didn't hear? Candy Cane and I are getting married in 20 minutes.
I am so happy for you.
Oh, but what about the rings?
The pawn shop at the corner. Uncle Leonard's got a key to every storefront along Short Vincent. I resisted the temptation to pick up an organ grinder as well. I figured without the monkey, what's the point? Of course, Mother's still over there browsing. All iron lungs have been marked down 50%, and she could never resist a sale.
What about the license and the blood test?
Uncle Leonard's got a drawer stuffed with blank documents and more official-looking seals than SeaWorld.
I imagine he's going to officiate as well.
Oh, no. But he did place a few calls and got the mayor to deputize Officer Baxter to serve as magistrate pro tem. Emergency powers on account of the tornado.
Which no doubt he arranged as well.
I wouldn't put it past him. So anyway, what do you think?
You look fabulous, Toby. I'm proud of you. Proud to be your brother.
Lucia, can I talk to you for a second?
Yes, of course.
Thank you for being with me there in the storm. I was pretty scared too, if you want to know the truth. But sometimes in the face of adversity, even heartbreak, you just have to put on a brave face and carry on.
I know you will be very happy.
Happy? Well, that's the thing. We don't know that, do we? I mean, I'm happy about not getting drafted, but who knows how it's going to turn out after the wedding. Still, Candy's a nice girl of about my age who ended up on Little Vincent just as desperate as I was, and we do share a mutual fascination with green moths. So that's a start. Something that perhaps we can build on.
He kisses Lucia's cheek.
I'll never forget you, Lucia. But I'm gonna try.
He begins to walk away.
Candy's dressing room in 20 minutes, Bruce.
Toby? Your magic show. It had everything. You can do great things with your magic. Become a famous entertainer. Travel the world, see new places.
I'm never gonna do another magic show again, actually. I'm going to call Herbie Singer's mom in the morning to cancel the engagement.
But Herbie Singer will be so disappointed.
He'll thank me for that when he's older. To be a better prepared for life of inevitable heartache and disappointment.
Toby exits.
Oh my. Don't you see how he's pining away for you? And then obviously you for him. Lucia, you have to tell him.
No! You must promise that we will say nothing, Brucito. Nothing. For Toby to marry Candy Cane tonight is like a miracle. I pine for him, yes, but now he will not go to Vietnam. That is what you both wanted. This is what I want. So you must promise to never reveal the secret. He must not know.
Where are you going?
I will be at the stone cathedral that is 2 blocks away. Come and find me once you are ready to return home.
But...
Say nothing. You will find me there. I will see you after midnight, Bruce.
Blackout. Scene 5. Leonard's apartment above the Roxy Burlesque Theater.
Uncle Leonard, you're coming to the ceremony, aren't you?
I spoke to your father 10 minutes ago. He's on his way downtown.
It's terrific. So maybe the two of you can patch things up. I mean, it seems only right.
I told him I was sorry. And I am sorry. A sorry excuse for a brother. Not to mention an uncle. Listen to me. When your grandma Harriet died, I was struggling to get back on my feet again after a divorce and a business failure. I was in dire straits. I rigged the will, Toby, and cut your father completely out of it. I was a fixer, you know. It was a terrible thing. Jack has every reason to be angry with me. And you as well. Depriving you boys of an uncle.
But once you've apologized, there's always forgiveness.
And forgiveness is more than I deserve just now. First of all, I must atone for my wrongdoing.
Atone? But you don't need to atone for anything.
Never mind that. How does it feel to be getting married tonight?
How does it feel? Yesterday, all I could think about was getting shipped off to Vietnam. I was anxious and worried. But now, to be honest with you, Uncle Leonard, I feel almost nothing. Candy, she's a nice girl and all, but my heart tells me that Lucia's the one, the reason I'm here. Only trouble is she's unattainable, beyond impossible.
I'll take your word for it. It's the way it is sometimes. What a generous night, huh? An announcement from the president sends the two of you boys into my life. A tornado, and now a wedding. Nights like these don't come around very often. You kids showing up on Short Vincent tonight was the greatest gift I can possibly imagine. Because you gave me a chance to try to make things right. Now come here. I want to give you my blessing.
Toby approaches Leonard, who puts his arms on Toby's shoulders.
I want you to remember this and pass it on to your own kids. Nobody needs a fixer. Most of what I've done has been nothing but smoke and mirrors. Storms come and go. Kids fall in love. Heaven and earth move at their own tempos, on their own accord. You try to overfix things. You try to tinker with the machinery. And ultimately, it falls apart. The true answers to your problems, to your most burning questions, are inside of you.
He puts his hand over Toby's heart.
Right here. Nobody needs a fixer. An uncle, maybe. But not a fixer. Remember that.
Where are you going?
I'm going for a walk.
A walk?
Yeah, close the door behind you, will you?
Uncle Leonard.
Leonard turns back. Toby rushes to him and embraces him tightly. After a long moment, Leonard pushes him gently away, kisses him on the forehead, and exits. Blackout. Scene 6, Candy's dressing room. Lights up on the dressing room where several life-size girly posters have been arranged to serve as silent bridesmaids. Toby and Candy stand talking quietly to each other.
Are you sure you want to go through with this?
Of course I'm sure. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Officer Baxter enters speaking. Jack, Betty, and Bruce follow. Bruce with martini glass in hand. Jack is in his bathrobe and slippers.
Okay, everybody, come on in. Don't be shy. Let's see. We got the bride. We got the groom, the rings, the licenses, the bridesmaid. Oh, you have never looked lovelier. Girls, and the family of the groom, not to mention a complimentary box of donuts in lieu of a wedding cake. I think we're all set.
Where's Lucia, Bruce?
She's feeling a little indisposed, Toby.
I bet it's the change in time zones that's throwing her off. God only knows what time it is in Mexico now.
Whenever you're ready, Officer Baxter, please proceed.
As you see, it's 1:45.
Yes, ma'am. Dearly beloved, we are gathered together in the dressing room of the Roxy Burlesque Theater, where under the emergency powers invested in me by the municipality of Cleveland, I have been duly deputized to officiate over the blessed union of these two kids here. The lovely Miss Candy Cane and...
Compose yourself, officer.
I'm sorry. Weddings always turn me into a big heaving pile of blubber.
I guess it's got nothing to do with a lifetime of eating donuts. Ow, my bunions!
Does anyone wish to say a few meaningful words while Officer Baxter struggles to contain his emotions?
Brucey, maybe you can recite something from Hebrew school, something Jewish or religious or something.
Excuse me? Did I hear you correctly, Mother?
Go ahead, Bruce. You're the oldest son.
Okay. Hebrew school. Perhaps you forget that I was kicked out of Hebrew school for moral turpitude on becoming a second grader.
Go ahead, Bruce.
How is this? Why is this night different from all other nights? Am I done?
You know, I never understood why it's called the 4 questions, since it's really just 1 question and 4 answers. But seeing as how Jewish tradition dictates that the youngest child recite the answers, I'll take a stab at it. Let's see. There's the matzo, the bitter herbs, the eating of while reclining, and well, 3 out of 4 is pretty good, don't you think?
Dipping vegetables.
Vegetable dip?
You crack me up. On all other nights, we don't dip our vegetables. But on this night, we dip them in salt water twice. Besides which, the 4 questions are for Passover, not a freaking wedding. What kind of Jew are you?
She's
Jewish?
What do you expect with the last name of Cain? C-A-I-N. Cain.
Perhaps we ought to go on with the ceremony.
It's almost 11:50, officer.
Hold on. We forgot the glass. The groom's got to step in the glass once the ceremony concludes to symbolize the breaking of the...
I'm guessing that train's already left the station, Father.
All the same.
No, not glass. That's where Artie Drexel keeps his dentures before shows.
Maybe we don't need the glass after all.
I am prepared to resume. We are gathered here to celebrate the blessed union of Miss Candy Kane and Tony Levine.
Toby, learner. Albeit a loyal employee of the hi-fi department at Levine Furniture, I have not, to this date, been sufficiently moved by my employer's large arrest to change my name.
Tony Lerner.
That's close enough.
Do you, Candy Kane, take Tony Levine as your lawful wedded husband?
Now this is getting ridiculous.
Tobias, there's something you may want to know.
Not now, Bruce. Wait until after the ceremony.
Proceed, officer.
To have and to hold through sickness and health, through good times and bad times, to love and obey until death you part.
Or an annulment, whichever comes first.
It's pretty important, actually.
I was with you until you got to the obey, but in the interest of time, let's just say yes.
Although she made me promise not to say anything to you.
Bruce, quiet. Whatever it is, it can wait.
Let him get married tonight, she said. Anything to keep him out of Vietnam.
Yeah. And do you, Tony Levine, take the aforementioned lovely Miss Candy Kane?
To whom are you referring, Bruce?
To Lucia, of course. And I would be inclined to agree, Toby. I mean, I'd go to Vietnam in your place if they'd take me.
Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Lorna Lee called just before I left the house.
Not now, Dad. I've got my hands full as it is.
But it just doesn't seem right to keep such a secret from you. Not to tell you what she said. I mean, these are matters of the heart.
Dad, speak now, man, and tell me what she said or fall forever silent.
Lucia told me that she's fallen in love with you, Toby.
All freeze in place except Toby, who slowly breaks away from the group and walks away. He looks back. All are gazing at him.
Toby, they're going to put you in the army.
I've got to follow my heart, Mom. Just like Grandma Harriet used to say.
She never said anything of the kind. Grandma Harriet was a mean old sourpuss from the day she was born.
Oh, Jack. I don't think I could stand it if they send him to Vietnam.
Toby's all grown up now, Betty. He's not a kid anymore. Putting on magic shows and the like. We just have to let go, honey.
Candy?
No, don't even say it. I knew what the score was from the start. I'll be all right. I've always figured out a way to land on my own 2 feet, like a cat. Now don't just stand there like a pumpkin. Go out and find her.
Toby exits.
Roxy Burlesque Theater, Officer Baxter speaking. Who's this, you say? The Columbia Record Club. Toby Lerner? No, nobody here by that name. Somebody must have gave you the wrong number. Well, there's no use letting these donuts go to waste.
Lights out on all except Toby.
In the annals of magic, there are tricks which are best left to the professionals, and others which should be attempted only by the virtuosos. Uncle Leonard was a virtuoso. He would be found the next morning in an alley, felled by a single lethal gunshot wound to the chest at close range. The detectives concluded it had all the markings of an arranged hit, carefully planned and executed. The perpetrator would never be found. His back page obituary would read, Leonard Lerner slain, colorful downtown character. My uncle's entire life reduced to 6 lousy words. But of course, we didn't know any of that at the time.
Lights up on Lucia in a church pew. Toby enters unseen by her, watches her for a moment, and then speaks.
I changed my mind about Herbie Singer's birthday party. Going to do the show after all.
Toby, what are you doing here?
First told me. Perhaps I already knew, but I didn't let myself believe it because it seemed too impossible to even contemplate. I fell in love with you from the moment I first saw you, and then my wish, the wish I made at the lake, that you would love me back. It came true.
Yes, but you must forget all of these now.
I know that you can't marry me right away. There's Eduardo, and the Miss South America title, and your family to think of.
But what are you talking about? You have your life back, and now you must create a new future with Candy Cane and see where it leads. Where is your ring?
Church bells begin to chime softly 12 times.
No. Toby, no.
Yes, don't you see, this is the only way. My heart tells me that this is the way, the only possible way.
This is not what I wanted for you.
Lucia, I have never been so sure of anything. And when I return from Vietnam, if you want me, if you love me still, I promise to find you wherever you may be, in Paris or Madrid or Santiago, and I will ask you, very properly, to be my wife.
Lucia moves close to Toby.
The greatest magic of all involves no shark tanks or sleight of hand or vanishing cards. Pick a woman, any woman, and look into her eyes. Take her in with one glance, and then mysteriously, infallibly produce the key which unlocks the door to her heart.
They fall into a kiss.
I actually don't claim all the credit for Lucia's surrender, which owed as much to simple accident of history, geography, and meteorology as it did to my own virtuosity. I imagine that history will soon forget the night of August 26th, 1965. No one will remember the tornado that touched down on Short Vincent that evening. Minor property damage, no loss of life. Even Freddie the tuna landed harmlessly in a bale of hay on the back of a horse-drawn buggy at the Amish country. I suppose that practically no one will recall the announcement that night by the president. Just one in a long procession of grim pronouncements and announcements, resounding like drum beats in the build-up to a larger war. But I'll remember, because for me, This one long night on Short Vincent was the night when nothing of importance really happened. And yet, everything changed.
Toby and Lucia begin to exit hand in hand. Fade out. The curtain falls.
Thank you, everybody, and wonderful job, cast and crew. This show has been recorded and will be posted to our Facebook page for your viewing convenience. If you like this show and want to see more shows to come, feel free to make a donation at baycityplayers.org. Next week, we have another original work for you by an original playwright. The show is called Chasing Clouds by Michael Allen Herman from Los Angeles. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Thank you, everybody.